Welcome to WrestleCast. This is episode 3, and this is episode 4, sorry. We're going to talk about a variety of things. I'm going to do a response video. Later on tonight they're airing a bracketology for the Cruiserweight Classic. But first thing I really want to talk about is an anniversary. Austin 316 anniversary. Now, while I was not the biggest Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, you can't discount the effect that this one promo in the King of the Ring in 1996, 20 years ago. It was about 20 years ago that Austin beat Jake the Snake Roberts. They even had a bunch of new wrestlers going out and doing these promos, but that changed his career. It took him from here, put him all the way up there. It put him on a whole new level, and it started the roll to the time when he would be the WWF champion and become one of the biggest stars in the industry. He became bigger than Hogan. He became bigger than Rock. Austin is one of those guys that can walk into an arena at any time and boom, you hear that reaction, that pop for Stone Cold. It's because of that promo, turning a Bible verse into a slogan. People still wear Austin 316 shirts today. People still remember that. And what's weird is that moment happened 1 month before Bash at the Beach and when the NWO was formed, but people still remember that night. I remember that night. It was a big moment. Did any of us realize that we'd still be talking about Austin 316 in 2016? No, we didn't. But Stone Cold Steve Austin is a legend. He's an icon. He's a Hall of Famer. He worked really hard to get to that point. A lot of us didn't know how hard he worked, but I remember seeing him in WCW, I saw him in ECW, and I really didn't expect him to explode like he did, to become such a huge star, because if you think about it, he went from there to, at Survivor Series that year, he had a classic with Bret Hart, and from the Bret Hart, they had the submission match, which is revered as one of the greatest WrestleMania matches ever. And there was a lot going on there. And Austin really he made a whole generation of wrestling fans want to do this for a living. There's so many wrestlers that still listen to Stone Cold, listen to his podcast, go back and watch his matches over and over and over again. Would it be on the WWE Network, would it be on DVDs, would it be memories, whatever. Austin is a legend. You cannot discount what Stone Cold Steve Austin has done for this business, and I think the Austin 316 really is a great memory to have. And speaking from there, let's move on a little bit, and on WrestleCast we're going to talk about a statement that was released. Now, there's 2 statements that was released this week. One revolved around Brock Lesnar, what he said about Stephanie. He doesn't give a damn what Stephanie has to say about anything, which is just Brock. Brock really doesn't care that much about the business. He cares about making money. Brock's all about the money, and he probably thinks Stephanie's full of shit, because Stephanie probably couldn't draw a dime on her own. But Brock, man, he's money. He makes lots of money. And I'm going to get more into Lesnar later, because I got another topic involving Lesnar. The other one is Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the greatest technical wrestlers there ever was in the WWF. Now, of course, there was better technical wrestlers than him in the NWA or WCW, but Bret Hart made a statement this week, and you could tell he's still bitter about something. I don't know what it is, but he basically said that it doesn't matter how many championships Triple H wins, he could never fucking lace up his boots. Which is true. Triple H is a sports entertainer. He's not a wrestler, and there is a difference. Bret Hart did a lot, and if you look at his title reigns, they weren't short. He wasn't like, if you look at Triple H's title reigns, 6 months here, 3 months here, 4 months here, 2 days here. Bret Hart's first title reign was a year that he was champion. And Bret Hart busted his ass to work from being a tag team wrestler to the Intercontinental Champion, to the King of the Ring winner, to the WWF Champion. So, Bret's a little bitter, and you could tell with everything that's been going on lately. I don't really know what to say, but whatever reason Bret's better for, I'm sure he has a reason for it. I still consider Bret a better wrestler than Triple H. I think Triple H is a better businessman than he is a wrestler. And now, we're going to go into Roman Reigns' burial. So, it's not like burying him deep, but it's ever since his suspension. Every time Rollins talks about it, it is horrible. They bury him with a freaking shovel. Roman Reigns deserves to get buried for violating the wellness policy. But Rollins, it's not just Rollins, it's on the internet. You have so many wrestlers burying Roman Reigns for making a bad decision. And I know Vince wants to do this whole redemption of Roman Reigns storyline, but that's a bad fucking idea. Because the fans cheered when Seth said that Roman had no business being in the main event for what he did. And what he did is he completely violated the wellness policy. There's no reason for Roman Reigns to even be considered in the title picture. And that's what people are complaining about. Vince doesn't see it still. Vince is very stubborn in his own ways. He's very stubborn. He doesn't like changing his mind. That's why he never turned Cena heel. But now Cena will never be a heel. Cena's at the twilight of his career. But see, Cena never violated the wellness policy or did stupid shit like Roman did. We don't know what he violated it for, but in any way, Roman Reigns does not deserve to. He needs to come back, start from the bottom, and work his way back up, and then maybe he could win the fans over that way. Don't got much else to say on it, but Roman deserves the spot he's in. Another anniversary this month. You go all the way back to, I believe it was 2011, the CM Punk pipe bomb. Now there's been videos released in the last 2 weeks because of the anniversary. Of course, WWE's not going to reference it, but it's something that saved his career. Punk was about to leave the company. He was pissed off. He was mad. And what he did in that pipe bomb is express how pissed off he was at the company, how he didn't agree with a lot of stuff that was going on, which is true, because they were unceremoniously firing people. They didn't know which direction to go. Punk thought that he could fix the company, but in the long run, he may have changed the perception a little bit, and it helped Bryan get where he was, but it still didn't change anything. We're almost in the same predicament we were before the pipe bomb. We just got a new John Cena. And it's something that people should acknowledge, how important that pipe bomb is going to be, as important as Austin 316, because it took CM Punk from mid-card guy all the way up to the top. People still say they miss CM Punk. People still wish CM Punk could come back. I wish Punk could come back. He was a top athlete, one of the best talents that they ever had, and I don't think they treated him right. They should have kept him up towards the top, main eventing, working the big cards, but they just kept pissing him off, pissing him off, pissing him off. And that's what happens in the business. People just get pissed off and they fucking leave. And now I'm gonna talk about something that had hype. Lots of hype. They sent out these tapes and said this match is gonna be awesome. It's a step above anything you've ever seen. It's gonna be one of the best wrestling matches you've ever seen. Original, everything. Oh, it was original, alright. I'm of course talking about the Final Deletion. Matt Broken Hardy versus Brother Nero. Jeff Hardy. Holy shit, that match was fucking, I don't know what goddamn acid trip they were on. But it was, dear God, I wanted to freaking stab myself in the face. Because you have like drones flying around and they're wrestling. It looks more like a scene from a movie trying to make a wrestling match. And there's like candles and kendo sticks and flaming pits and willows, and I don't know what they were trying to do. I know that Dixie Carter probably thought, oh, this is a great thing, the fans are gonna love it. Okay, I went on Facebook to see and read what people thought. Yeah, 20% of people liked the match. The other 80 said, Jesus Christ, this is shit. It was fucking horrible. It shows that in 2016, the wrestling business can't do something cool. There's a million different ways they could have done it. For one, they could have filmed it, but they could have done a wrestling match, like a real wrestling match, not all this CG and film. It could have go in different directions. Yes, it could go in different directions, but I don't understand what it was. Now, I do know that the Wyatt compound match is going to take something from this, but the difference probably is Vince McMahon will probably make it better than what Jeff and Matt Hardy did, because that just seemed like an acid trip gone wrong. I didn't like the match, and then Jeff wins after he falls into a fire pit. Jeff loses. Matt gets the Hardy name. I don't know what that had to do, but it adds to like the downfall of TNA, and it proved to a lot of the former TNA fans why the product is shit. I heard some people respond and say, I'm gonna fucking quit watching wrestling, or hey look, it's a sinking ship known as TNA, because it was fucking horrible. Now on that note, the Wyatt New Day segment is leading to something like this. They're gonna go to the Wyatt compound, have a fight, but I know that I have a good idea that Vince is gonna see the negative response of that, and he's gonna turn into something else, and he's probably gonna film a match. It's not gonna look like what you think. So I think it's gonna be really good. And the whole Wyatt New Day segments are actually, you can see that like Xavier switching, and I don't know if they're gonna pull like him going to the Wyatts or whatever, but it looks like the New Day's falling apart, and they're actually building the Wyatt family up on a higher pedestal and making them mean something. The Wyatts are starting to be, when you see them, it means more because they're not there all the time. So I think that was the perfect way for them to go, because to me Bray Wyatt is like one of the top tier people in the industry right now. He even did an interview where he talked a lot about how wrestling Undertaker was really good and how he wants to wrestle The Rock. And that could work really well for Bray. as long as The Rock puts over Bray Wyatt. Because Bray's problem is, yeah, you could put him on TV, you could build him, but if you build him and then he doesn't win matches, it doesn't mean anything. Bray needs to win some matches, get some matches under his belt, and I think that's what needs to get done. And I really think Bray Wyatt and The Rock could work at WrestleMania. I think the perfect thing to do is to plant the seeds. But speaking of them versus the New Day, they have to destroy the New Day. Take the tag team titles off them. Because the team that takes the tag team titles off the New Day really elevates it. It does. And Bray's going to be perfect in that role. And next, on the last 2 weeks of Raw, the Club and Cena's interactions have been very good. Because AJ flat out brings out the fact that John Cena buries people. Which is completely fucking true. He buries people all the time. And having Enzo and Cass come out to help Cena was great. And I love the whole hashtag beat up John Cena day, which the fans have all like jumped on top of. But the Club is awesome. I do still think that Finn Balor is going to show up, and it's going to build towards a AJ Styles and Balor match, which I think would be really fucking cool to have both of them go at it in a new way. I think that could be really awesome, but it would have to be built right, it would have to be done right, and that'll be really good, because it's all about, you have to make the Club this dominant force. And right now, AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Gallows are working on all 8 cylinders. And they were just in Japan, and they were really over when they went to Japan, which was really good. But they do need to start. Like, can you honestly tell me what's Carl Anderson's finisher? What's Luke Gallows' finisher? We know they use Magic Killer, but you need to give them a finisher. The only problem with Carl Anderson is he can't use his Diamond Cutter because it's too much like the RKO. He can't use his Boston Crab because it's too much like the Walls of Jericho. A lot of his moves he can't do, so he's going to have to come up with something out of the blue. But coming from somebody who was extremely successful in Japan, I know he could do that. And the Club and Cena really, to me, it's money. But now the X Division. On Impact last night, they had Michael Bennett defended the X Division Championship against the entire X Division. The entire 6 people in the X Division. So you're telling me that Billy Corgan can come in the company, you can hire Michael Bennett, you can hire these former NXT guys, you can pay the Hardys this amount of money, but you can't get X Division stars. Now, the reason why this is such a fucking joke is in 2002, all the way up to 2010, they had a stellar X Division. But now they have Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, Rockstar Spud, DJ Z, you have Eddie Edwards in there, Michael Bennett's in there now, Crazy Steve was in there before. You don't have an X Division. You have 6 or 7 guys. When they had a Cruiserweight division in WCW, they had like 10, 15, 20 guys in that division. WWE is doing the Cruiserweight Classic, and the Cruiserweight Classic is 32 people. So to have a shoot interview, it doesn't really, to have a X Division, it doesn't make sense. You need to bring more people in, because you could bring in Paul London, you could bring back Brian Kendrick, you could get The Amazing Red, you can get Sanjay Dutt, Teddy Hart, AR Fox. They had the guns at one point. You have to bring more talent in to reestablish the X Division, because the X Division is a joke. It's going to be a joke once this Cruiserweight Classic comes on the air, changes things, and I think that's when things are really going to hit the fan. They really need to up it. And I wanted to talk about shoot interviews, because I watch a lot of shoot interviews. Like today I've been watching the Rock and Roll Express. The best shoot interviews to watch are the ones from Kayfabe Commentaries. Some really funny ones are ones with Jim Cornette where he talks about Kevin Dunn, and there's some stories about Sable and how Sable really didn't want to wrestle. There's stuff with Mark Merrow. He talks about the Montreal Screwjob, because for those of you who don't know, Jim Cornette used to be on the creative, and he was a producer, and he was backstage a lot. The ones with the Rock and Roll Express are really good. There's the ones with Kevin Nash are pretty funny. Raven's done a couple of shoot interviews. So is Scott Hall, Hornswoggle did one, Bolt Dempsey did one, Sammy Callahan's done one. Shoot interviews, for those of you who do not know, is somebody talking about the wrestling industry for real. They're no bullshit interviews. It's not scripted, they just answer questions. And a lot of people like to dish out dirt in shoot interviews. Say what's really on their mind. And that's one of the things that's really fucking cool, is when you hear people like a Vader, like Ole Anderson, or Eric Bischoff, or you learn there's a lot of people in the business that people hated. Like the Ultimate Warrior was not well liked. Neither was Lex Luger. A lot of people hate Vince Russo. A lot of them, because Vince Russo did ruin the business a lot. People don't like Sid that much. Barry Windham shoot interviews are really good. I like what he has to say and how he actually really hated working with Sid because of his work ethic. But there's you get to hear some really cool stories and learn some backstage stuff. So if you're a big wrestling fan, I would really check out some shoot interviews. You can go to wwnlive.com, and you could go on there. They have shoot interviews on demand. You can pay for them, or you can go to YouTube and find these little clips or trailers of them, and you can hear from like Just Incredible, Amazing, Awesome Kong. I don't know if Amazing Red has one, but I know Tommy Dreamer has one. Raven has one. There's some with Sunny. There's some with China. There's some with X-Pac. There's some with the New Age Outlaws. There's one with Paul Lynn and Brian Kendrick where they are high as fuck. There's a lot of cool shit. Well, now I'm going to talk about my second to last topic is, it's been almost 17 years since the Monday Night Wars ended. And it was one of the worst things for the wrestling business. Because when your major company, because if you really think about it, up until 2001, where it ended, WWE had to push to make sure they wouldn't get knocked out the top spot. And WCW was there, ECW was there, and they were pushing, and they were pushing, and they were pushing. When you don't have competition, you lose creativity, because when there's two people jockeying for position, it makes things better, more entertaining, and like that's how you got your Ministry of Darkness, that's how you got the Brood, the NWO, the Resurrection of the Horsemen, you had the Flock, you had Goldberg's Streak, you had so much going on, intricate storylines, because you really needed it. But in March of 2001, the wrestling business died, because you went from having 3 companies competing with each other to just having one. Because it started first in February, where ECW was purchased from the WWF, and then within the next couple of weeks, you had Paul Heyman was now on the announced team, and then you had Rhino show up on TV, and Spike Dudley, and Just Incredible. And then in March, you had WCW close. And then you had an Invasion angle, which was completely booked the wrong fucking way, and should have been booked from when it started to WrestleMania. It should have been this huge storyline, and instead of having Shane and Stephanie in control of it, you should have brought in Eric Bischoff, the NWO. You should have made it all spread out and make it like a real war, and you could have had it where WCW and ECW took control of SmackDown, but ECW should never been on WCW's side. Because it knows ECW. ECW locker room hated WCW with a fucking passion. So that made no sense. But I really wish the Monday Night Wars never ended, because that's when you would flip between each shows to really see what was going on, see what was happening, and it was really good. So that's just my opinion on that. And today it was announced who Brock Lesnar is wrestling in SummerSlam, and it's the return of Randy Orton, which could bring some money. I don't think they haven't wrestled each other since I think 2002, when Brock first came in, when Randy was still green. I think that it's a big match. You needed a big match. A lot of people thought maybe it'd be Goldberg or Kurt Angle or something like that. If they would have got Angle, it would have been. But I don't know if it's 100% legit, but a lot of sites are running it that it's going to be Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And that's coming off the heels of at UFC 200, Brock Lesnar is going to be fighting Mark Hunt. So hopefully Brock doesn't get hurt in that fight. But him and Randy should be good. Randy's been out since October. Putting Randy from just having him randomly debut on return to having him in a match like this really elevates Randy's stock and makes it better. And I really think that's good to have. SummerSlam is supposed to be like the summer WrestleMania. So you want to boost up the card and make it something special. And I think that's a good way to make it special. Lesnar versus Orton. I don't have any problems with this. The past couple times Lesnar's fought, I really haven't had issues with his matches, because it's Brock Lesnar. And Brock is good. The only one I had issue with was him and Dean, because I thought they could have done more with that match. But I think it's really good. And I think down the line they should still build towards Lesnar versus Owens, because I think that match would be really cool. And a Lesnar versus the Wyatts, or versus Bray, and I think that should be pretty good. Brock is their money maker right now. More people tune in to watch him than when The Rock's on there. So that's my opinions. This is WrestleCast. This is episode 4, and I will see you next time.